welcome to Amrita by the Book. My name is Amrita. This is my Booktube, and today I'll be doing the Booktube Backstage tag. I was tagged to do this by Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, who are smart, funny, and read widely, which is all that I want or need in a Booktube channel. Gonna link down to the video below and you can check it out. And honestly, this tag came at just the right moment because these are questions that I was wondering about other people as well. And all the technical backstage stuff is always interesting to me, so this tag couldn't have come at a better time. Question 1. What camera do you use for your videos? I in fact do not use a camera, I use my iPhone. The reason for this is A, I'm cheap and this is what I had. B, I like the look of the videos and it shoots in 4K, so what more could I want? And C, it's easy. And I like easy, and I was looking for easy, especially in the middle of last year when I launched this channel. This is going to be a theme, by the way, throughout this video. Number 2, speaking about filming and being your own director, do you have a favorite film director? One of the reasons why I really like this tag is because it's so random. Yes, I do have a favorite film director. I have several, in fact, because in my other incarnation, I co-host a film podcast, so I'm really into films and I have been for a very long time. And that being said, this question was really hard because I watch films in a variety of languages, not just in India because we have different film industries per language, but also like around the world. So I was like, well, who do I choose? Do I choose somebody from my childhood, somebody that I discovered in my 20s, somebody who was transformational in some way? And then I thought, you know what, I'll just go back to the OG, which is Manmohan Desai, who is an Indian director who made movies in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Primarily, like, his golden period was in the 70s when he made the most insane movies that you probably have never watched, but you should if you can find a subtitled version, because they are insane and they're just incredibly good fun. So Desai was a huge proponent of what we in India call masala filmmaking, and what we have today in the name of masala filmmaking is a vastly inferior version, but the kind that he did back in the day was, you know, like, it could be wholesome, but also it was like fun and had like great music. Like, if you watch something like Amar Akbar Anthony, it's about national unity, but also about family. It's about romance. These are songs that literally every Indian knows. Like, it doesn't matter if you speak Hindi or not, like, it's fine. You know the songs, you know the dialogues, you know the plot. You can't escape it. And it's fun, like, it's genuinely fun. It's good fun for kids. You can watch it as an adult. It's ridiculous and it's funny and it's heartwarming. One of my favorites, like if you're inclined to be a bit more adventurous, is, okay, I describe this film as coming towards his later, more declining years, and that upsets some of his, you know, more fervent fans. But it's true, and it's called Mard, which literally means man. And it's about this one man who is fighting all of colonialism. And it cracks me up so much. Like, as a kid, I watched it and it was supposed to be like this hyper macho kind of film. And then you watch it as an adult and you're just like, what the hell is going on? Like, everything in that film is just insane. And it also, you know, does this thing of transforming subtext into text in the most wild and insane way possible. Like, there's a scene in it where there are all these starving Indians, you know, they're starved because of the British, you know, and they're starving to death, and as they're about to die, the British whisk them off into the cellar and literally drain their blood. But then they don't do anything with the blood, they just put it in these colorful jars and then put them all around the cellar where the former king of that kingdom is personally grinding wheat to feed the populace, because people can only eat whatever the king grinds that day. And it is insane and it is funny, and I have never seen such a literal translation of like bloodsucker and done so effectively. Colonialism as interpreted by Manmohan Desai is literally one of my favorite things. And if anyone wants to do a watch along sometime, I will happily do it with you. I recommend it to everybody. Number 3, what microphone do you use and what program do you use to edit your videos? Right, going back to the theme, I use my AirPods. That's what I do. I have my, is it called earpods? AirPods. I can never keep up with what Apple is calling its stupid things. Like, why can't you just call them headphones and call it a day? No, we must call something that's like branded. Fine. I don't know what to call it now. But yeah, it's literally that. Like, I use it for my podcasting. I use it for like everything else. It's really good quality, and it does everything that I need it to do. As for editing, again, I edit mostly on my phone. Like, once in a while, I'll do it on my laptop if I need like any special effect that I don't have available on my phone. But otherwise, I just use iMovie, and it came bundled with my phone. It's very easy and intuitive to use, except for vertical videos, because Apple doesn't really care about iMovie, and so they haven't really done anything with that program since, I don't know, like 2012 or something. So the way that you edit verticals in it is insane, and I don't recommend it for vertical editing whatsoever. But if it's a landscape like this, then yeah, sure. Use iMovie. It's cheap, it's easy, it's fine. Especially if you're doing vlogs. See, this is the whole thing. Like, it's a philosophy. Back in the day when we didn't have all the fancy stuff, and all the fancy stuff cost a great deal more than it did today, and we didn't have iPhones, we didn't have all this tech at our fingertips. We just made do with whatever we'd had. And so that's kind of stuck with me as I grew older. So I've never been the kind of person that's been like, oh, I can't do this unless I have like X gear, and I need to have like this camera, and it needs to be like this specification. Like, that is absolutely not me. You know what my lighting is? The light outside my window. And yes, it's uneven, and no, I don't care. It's free. God gave it to me. I love it. Do you remember the first record that you bought or received as a gift? I don't think I've ever like bought a record. Like, do you mean like one of those vinyl things? Like, because I grew up in a home where we had those, and I was trying to think like, what was the first record that I heard played, and I think it was the Beatles, because my mom was a huge fan, and so we had those. But bought or received as a gift, I don't think anyone's ever given it to me, because I'm 100% not that kind of person. My brother is, but I am not. If you mean like an album, I think one of my friends in grade school got me U2's The Judas Tree, and I was like 8 or 9 or something, like really young, and I didn't understand like why she got me that, but I think like her family was really into U2 at the time or something, so she gave it to me, and I tried listening to it, and I didn't really care for it. My brother is not like a U2 fan. My parents don't really care for it either, so I ended up not really listening to it. And then the joke was on me, because a few years later, when I was in college, my friends and I would always go to this pub in Bangalore where it's called Purple Haze, and I don't think it exists anymore. It's too sad, but it used to be like, a mainstay of Bangalore nightlife, and everybody used to go there, and it was all rock all the time. And it was the kind of place where everybody knew the words to every song, and they used to close out every night to Pink Floyd. Like, it was a super serious rock bar. And I felt like an idiot when I walked in, and I realized like everybody there knew like all the words to like all the U2 songs, and I was like, oh. Number 5, how do you prepare your videos? Talking points, a detailed script, or just talking? There's not a lot of prep that goes into it, because I am constantly thinking. Like, that's actually my problem. I need to turn my brain off sometimes. So it's not a question of coming up with things, knock on wood, but it is a question of preparing at least something, because I don't want to sit in front of this camera and talk forever. Like I've mentioned before, I don't really enjoy filming. Like, I don't enjoy putting myself on camera. So I don't enjoy that process, and so it makes things a lot more easy and simple if I just prepare something beforehand, and that's talking points. I can't do a script. I have flirted with the idea of typing up a script and then, kind of doing a teleprompter kind of a thing and just reading things off it. And that does sound like it would cut down on filming time, and that might be simpler to edit as well. But honestly, I don't like the sound of it, like the sound of me reading off a script. I've done it before for my work, and I don't really enjoy the sound of it. Even when I do it as naturally as possible and I make it sound as if I'm just riffing when actually I'm just reading, it doesn't sound natural to me, and I'm the one that has to edit, so I'm the one that has to listen to me over and over again, and I don't like it. So yeah, it's talking points, and then I really do think things through. Like if I'm doing one of those tier thingies, then I'll watch a few things from it just to refresh my memory, make sure that I'm not just imagining things. If I'm doing a tag, then I'll look at the questions beforehand and I'll make sure that I know what it is that I want to say. Sometimes I forget or I miss a question in between, and then it's a desperate struggle. But I'm definitely one of those people that likes to prepare. Right, TV shows have become the thing of our time. Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, Netflix, HBO, and Amazon. What is or are your favorite TV shows ever? Name a maximum of 3. Lord, I feel like I talk about my favorite TV shows all the time, and they all just keep coming up here and there. So let me talk about something that I don't think is likely to come up ever again. And that is this Pakistani drama from the 1980s, and it's called Dhoop Kinare. And if you watch it today, you're like, wow, like this is what you like, because it is, it's made on a budget of like, maybe $10 or something. Like it's super basic, and it's very like stagey, and it's not sophisticated in any way, shape, or form. But I remember, growing up in Delhi, we used to get a few Pakistani channels, or maybe like one Pakistani channel, I don't know. But we used to get, our antennas would pick up some kind of Pakistani content from across the border. And we would watch a few things like Bakra Kiston Pe and Dhoop Kinare and a couple of other things. And they are iconic Pakistani TV shows, and one of them is Dhoop Kinare, which is the story of this young woman who ends up interning at this hospital for the surgeon, and her life just changes forever. And she falls in love with him, and then they realize that they have a history that is very painful to both of them, and then they need to sort of overcome that history, and also the age differences, their own internal issues, the hang-ups, insecurities. And it is so heartwarming, and it is so wholesome, and I love it so much. I have Pakistani friends who make fun of like all the Indians that love that show so much, because my generation that like watched it, we will still find a way to watch it every other year or so, like on YouTube and stuff. And when I say that it is really simple filmmaking, I mean it is basic, but it is so wholesome, and I love it. Number 7, what kind of Booktube videos do you prefer to watch and why? Reviews, wrap-ups, vlogs, book hauls, tag videos, or... I think I tend to watch people rather than themes. So if you're a new person to me, like I've never seen your content before, then it tends to be like a review or a book haul of some kind, just for me to get a sense of what it is that you're interested in and how you explain things. But otherwise, I think it's really about the personality and whether I like what you are putting out into the world. Not just in terms of books or in terms of content, but in terms of vibe. I tend not to watch too many people who rant all the time or are too snarky. Not because I have a problem with snark, like I grew up on the internet. I am, snark is basically my second language, but I don't really want to see all of that all the time. I want to see people who are enthusiastic about stuff, who love things. Like the older I get, the more I want to see people who love things and want me to share in their love. There's something contagious and happy about it, and I want that in my life. But sure, I like tag videos, obviously. I like book hauls. I live vicariously through them. I love reviews. Sometimes people will talk about books that I'm never going to read in a million years, but it's really interesting to see what they got out of it and how they contextualize it within their own likes and dislikes, and it's a fun experience for me. Anything that people are passionate about, actually, like that's what I want in my life. Okay, last question. Watching TV was probably a part of all our childhoods. These years it has become less popular. What kind of media user are you? So I cut the cord in like 2005, 2006, something like that. I don't even remember, like it wasn't even called cutting the cord, like people weren't even talking about it. That's how long ago it was. And I didn't do it out of any philosophical reasons per se, or because I had like ideals and principles and TV was interfering with that. It was just like it didn't fit with my life, and I had so many other things that I wanted to do, and I had the internet by then, and if I was really interested in something that was airing, then I would just watch it online, so why bother? So I guess I'm an early adopter of that lifestyle, and I stack a lot, which I didn't know it was an official term until I was doing my master's. A stacker is basically somebody who, you're watching TV like or something streaming on a big TV, but you're also on your phone at the same time, or maybe you have like an audiobook playing in the background, but you're also reading like something. Basically, you're using multiple devices at the same time. And yeah, I'm sad to say that I'm one of those people. I'll sometimes have something playing in front of me, and then I'll be on Twitter or something on my phone. Apart from that, like I said, I co-host a podcast on film, so I do have to watch quite a few, and I like to watch quite a few actually. Like I don't do it out of obligation, I do it because I love it. I don't think I've sat down and watched traditional TV in years. It's usually when I am with somebody, like my mom or my aunts or like somebody older who still has TV, then yeah, sure. But otherwise, everything is streaming all the time. I'm essentially a mole person. Thanks for reminding me. And now we come to the part where we tag 8 people. All right, so 8 people. I'm gonna start with Sun and Mood Reads. I know she doesn't really like to do tags, but I think this is one that she would like to do. I'm gonna tag Lady Jane Books because I know she's been talking and thinking about things to do with her channel, and maybe when she does this tag, it'll help her figure things out for herself. I'm gonna tag Jeremy Fee because I want to know how he does those little things on his channel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should check it out. I'm gonna tag Amy, Potato Brarian, because it always intrigues me the way she can just like sit down in front of things and just knock out like a 45-minute video. Like, how do you do that? I'm gonna tag Bethan, who is a new friend. I'm gonna tag Sunny Luca, who had a video up not too long ago about things that are tangential to this one. So I think, she'd probably appreciate this one. I'm gonna tag Polynesian Reader because I've seen her mention her equipment. I'm gonna tag Lana because she's one of those people who should know about things like this. And I'm gonna tag Pastel Writer, who is again a new friend. So that was my peek behind the door. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this kind of stuff, remember, subscribe, or if you've already subscribed, thank you. Come back again. Until next time, happy reading. For more videos, please hit the subscribe button.